Hey, what's going on, guys? Kalamazi here, and today I want to talk to you about the current state of Warlock tier, Destro, Demo, and AF, all the sets, heading into, I guess we're already in release candidate for patch 10.2, final week or so. Today was Mythic 9 retesting, which means, I would assume Mythic raid testing's over. For the most part, this weekend's the last weekend of Dungeons, and BlizzCon's in a few days. I've run some sims looking at Destro, Demo, and AF, and I'm a little worried about our tier bonuses, value-wise, and where Warlock is sitting. So today we're going to discuss that. Maybe put out the bat signal and hope for buffs to either just the specs or some tier bonuses in general, because they are in an interesting spot. Yeah, I'm not even gonna drag it out anymore. Let's just get into it. Okay, so what I've done here is I've run 3 sims, one for each spec on retail and one for each spec on PTR, and 1 sim at the end here, which is pretty interesting. Either way, I want to compare 2-piece, 4-piece gains from Aberrus to 2-piece, 4-piece gains from Mirdrasil, and just try and, I guess paint a picture of where we're currently sitting. I guess, well, tier bonus wise, heading into Mirdrasil in 10.2. Now, off the bat here, this is Demonology on retail. PTR and retail, they're playing the proper best builds that correspond to whatever spec. This is the actual Nether Portal Pit Lord build here we talked about for a long time. It's the huge peaks and valleys version you can see here as well. Big peaks and valleys, 500,000 DPS, tank damage. Big DPS, tank damage, 500,000 tank damage. It's that huge peaks and valleys profile they've been trying to fix for a long time, which is sort of have addressed in 10.2. But on retail currently, it is still a very large, peaks and valleys kind of profile. Now, the 2-piece does seem a little low here, honestly. It might have been a little higher. I'm not sure. It could be a little buggy. I don't really know. But either way, the 2-piece, for those that don't remember or whatever, gives you a Demon Bolt damage increase and gives you basically a Grimoire Felguard sync to your Tyrant every time. And Aberrus in the 4-piece makes your Felguard deal more damage, and when it's active, increase all your demons damage by 20%. It's a large amount, and you can see it is a 15.1% gain over wearing no pieces of tier at all. I think roughly the number they shoot for, probably internally, is around 10 to 11% for a 4-piece bonus from a 0, like a raw power gain. They never clarify what it is, but typically I think it ends up being around there for most classes tuning-wise, whenever, PTR comes to an end, roughly. Demo is ahead this time. Demo, the bonus is very, very strong. It'll be probably talked about for a long time, being one of the stronger bonuses in general for any class. It lasted through PTR. Didn't think it would for Aberrus. But either way, Demo 15.1, with the 4-piece being a pretty substantial gain over the no-piece, non-tier set, whatever. And 2-piece not being as much, but 2-piece, right? The 4-piece here, the Affliction, 2-piece, 4-piece. So, Affliction not as strong, but roughly a 9% increase. It might vary a little bit from sim to sim, roughly. Variants, characters, all that kind of stuff, right? For those who don't remember it, or I guess don't know, whatever, the Aberrus bonus is Vial Taint cooldown reduced by 5 and Singularity by 12, basically making Vial Taint 24-ish seconds, I think, and Singularity like 32. Damage increase, and the 4-piece, enemies that are affected by Singularity or Vial Taint gain Infirmity, which makes them take 10% increased damage. So, your 4-piece, pretty strong. Not like incredibly strong, but it is a strong part of what makes AF currently in Aberrus and things, giving you that damage amp during your Vial Taint windows, Vial Taint Soul Rot, Clash Trinket, damage being stacked together. And you can see here, it's not as strong as Demonology with Nether Portal, Pit Lord, Burst, and all that. But you're hitting 300k here, but you also sustain more outside of it, right? 80k, 90k, little peaks and valleys here, larger peaks with Dark Lair, playing Clash Trinket and all that. But a relatively solid cooldown based profile with a decent bit of sustained damage in between. When it comes to destruction, roughly about the same. You're looking at 2.7, 8.7 for AF here, 3.2 and 8.2 for destruction. For Destro, once again, it's a CDF bonus. CDF, the bolts deal more damage, and Demon Fire bolts, basically CDF increases your damage whenever you cast it by 8% for 13 seconds. So also, 4-pieces are typically pretty impactful, and that is also the case here. 2-piece not terrible, but 4-piece, being pretty strong. Also forcing you into playing CDF, which wasn't a huge plus this tier. People weren't a huge fan of it, but, ended up going live like that. So, when it comes to Mirdrasil tier bonuses, when you put up a 4-piece from Aberrus that increases your damage by 10% when PS and Vial Taint are active, when you have, for AF here, for Destro, giving you an 8% increase when you cast CDF, and for Demonology being, insane for Demonology. If you compare it to Mirdrasil tier bonuses, Soul Rot, 15% damage increase and lasts longer. the big of a deal. Doombrand's okay for Demonology, but it's not better than what we have here in Aberrus right now. Just comparing the raw sets and what they do, right? Not looking at eye level increase or anything yet. And Destro, Dimensional Rifts deal 25% more damage, or sorry, bolts do. Immolate damage, it's a chance to give you an extra charge of Rifts back, right? Relatively strong, but not as strong as you having a 10% damage amp, or 8% damage amp, or a huge bonus to your demons, right? So keep that in mind when looking at breaking, 4 pieces heading into a Mirror and all that. We'll get into that in a minute here. So when it comes to Mirror Sims, this is the current state of Demonology. I just pulled it up here, but I mean, obviously this is Doombrand, being about a 4.9% increase in single targets, and the 4-piece is the one that spawns Doom Guards. They can do volleys of Demon Bolts or Doom Bolts, or whatever they're called, or a single target one. 4.9 and 9.6. We're not looking at 3 and 15, but still we're looking at a relatively, I guess, respectable bonus within reason, about that 10% margin. I wouldn't mind a minor bump to the 4-piece, because Doom Guards at times underperform, don't proc as often, and end up being worse than Doombrand in your damage breakdown, but, it's what it is. In Mythic Plus, if you're weaving Doombrands properly, your Doombrands do indeed hit harder overall than your Doom Guards do, typically at the end of a key, if you're weaving them properly, right? But overall, I mean, around that 10% mark, roughly. RNG is RNG. It might proc at times might not proc, but hey, it's there. A lot of like mechanical stuff with this, like weaving Doombrands around being annoying, wasn't really looked at, but I mean, is what it is, right? So not like a horrendous bonus here overall, raw damage wise. We'll see where it goes. Maybe some tuning comes in. Not really sure. Moving on to Affliction. So we're looking at, from what I've seen in my Sims, and I could be off here, I think right around there. I think this is about right. A 3.9, basically 4% increase for your 2-piece. The 2-piece, for those that are wondering, right here, Soul Rot, damage increase and lasts longer. And the 4-piece gives you 3 stacks of Umber Fire Kindling, which increases the damage of the next 3 Raptures by 50, or Seeds by 60. And they also extend your dots whenever you Rapture, I guess the Kindling stacks do, just from Rapture only, not Seed, by 2 seconds for 3 Raptures, so a total of 6, right? A relatively impactful bonus. The cool thing here, there's been a talent change that makes Soul Rot half a minute cooldown. So you basically have those 3 strong Raptures every half a minute. So fights like Tindral with Shield, Smolderon, Gnarl Root, a good bit of fights in this raid tier that want prefer these faster damage profile kind of specs and things. AF can be that. Feels pretty good. Even on Naimi today, felt pretty solid in testing, having those fast Soul Rots. They're almost so fast you fall behind, you're in trouble. But it feels solid. And a 12% bonus is about what I would expect. Maybe a bit less, maybe a little more than what I expected, like just playing with it. But overall, it's fine. Probably within like the margin of bonuses being okay. Percent-wise for, I guess, specs across the board, right? Now, the problem arises with Destruction. So, Destruction, I don't know if I'm even in game right now. Let me see. I might be. I am. Destruction, we've talked about it a lot. Right, but Destruction has the issue of its tier bonus being based around Dimensional Rift. I'm actually playing my old tier here, put this on just to show you. It's based around Dimensional Rift, right? Now, Dimensional Rift is an N-tier capstone ability, which sits right here. Now, the current build on retail, if you're playing your Aberrus 4-piece and things, is this. You're playing CDF, you're playing a point in Chaos Incarnate for maximum master benefit, the Chaos Bolt, Rain of Fire, Shadowburn, all that. Playing CDF with Raging. I mean, and you will shift this to Conflagration of Chaos this coming tier in Emergensil. But the problem is, like, Chaos Incarnate is still better than Dimensional Rift by a couple thousand DPS without wearing any tier from Emergensil. I'll show you the sim. So you've got 0-piece Dimensional Rift Destro at 145. You've got 0-piece Chaos Incarnate Destro, which can vary from character to character, at 148.4. Which, I mean, hey, all right, Chaos Incarnate's a little better, maybe, possibly. See what happens, with tuning and things. But then you've got your 2-piece. If you're playing, these are both playing Dimensional Rift. That's your 2-piece, and 4-piece is based around Dimensional Rift. It is a whopping 1.5% gain over playing Chaos Incarnate with your 0-piece, and an incredible 2.8% increase from what I've seen in these Sims here over playing no tier with Chaos Incarnate. Even if you play Rift and no Chaos Incarnate with no tier, it is an incredible 5.1% DPS gain. Destro tier needs help. Boys, put out the bat signal. We need some help with Destro tier. I don't know, man. I've looked through these sims, and I mean, they all seem to be accurate from what I've seen. I had somebody verify them, and they looked accurate. I mean, here's 2-piece, here's 4-piece. Looking at the rift damage here, I mean, you're looking at like Searing Bolt, Shadow Barrage. This is about where they sit roughly, because Cinders are also sitting here too. Right about here. This is about where they sit roughly within reason. Rift, Chaos Bolt, maybe a little lower than what I've seen at times, but honestly, like, this is roughly what I've seen damage breakdown wise for rifts, if you're not including Cinders, and Cinders were also nerfed recently, which means probably also the reason why they got a little worse again. Destro's tier, from what I've seen, unless I gotta take a drink here, I'm choking, needs some serious help. Now, I think it's a mix of Chaos Incarnate just being better, being able to get max mastery benefit from your tier, or on your bolts, I mean. Very, very strong. Other issues lie in the fact that Dimensional Rift is a capstone. It is like, I'm okay with talents being tier bonuses within reason, as long as they're okay to relatively easy to access, with like Grimoire Felguard, PS Vial Taint, CDF, even like with Soul Rot and the Aft Tree. I mean, it's sort of a capstone in a sense, but like, you're playing it either way. It's not really a capstone. It's like a sub capstone. This is an end tier mid capstone, where you don't even play this node in certain settings. If you do, you're playing Chaos Incarnate. We haven't played Rift Ball expansion. I like Rift, it's cool, but it's very hard to, you know, justify playing Dimensional Rift over having Grand Warlock's design, which makes Infernal better through Crashing Chaos as well. It's hard to justify it over, you know, playing this. If I can skip to it. Here we go. Playing this Mythic Plus, your 2-minute build. You either lose your Grand Warlocks or you lose your Purple Infernal to get this talent. And even if you did, chances are high you play this instead. A good solution, I think, just to move this, once again, move Rift up here where Embers is at, move Embers down here with Chaos Incarnate Embers. I'm not really sure. Like, Marksman Hunter, I don't know if Marks got a total redesign today, like they changed everything, or just like they called it a redesign and just changed the numbers. I'm not really sure, or the functionality of it, but they actually redesigned Marksman Hunter's tier today, from what I understand from a blue post. We are in release candidate. If that is... And I like Dimensional Rift. I think it's cool. There's a lot of problems with Rift. We talked about it for a while over the course of PTR that needed to be looked at and addressed. And I had hope for that, but unfortunately, a lot of them necessarily weren't. And then some of them were with like the Sender's Charge, like clause being added back into Dimensional Rifts, like being added to it so it cleaves an AoE. But then like it was double dipping in crit, and they nerfed it, and it's not even very good anymore again. So like Destro's tier needs some serious help. Like, I'm not saying you're below the tanks in priority, but you might be if you're playing only Destro. It's pretty subpar. I have one final sim to show like Destro's tier comparisons here. I wanted to run sims for every spec to compare, like, you know, like 2-piece, 4-piece, old 4-piece, new piece, all that kind of stuff. But in the end, there's a very large eye level jump this tier comparatively to Vault into Aberrus. We're looking at like a 35 eye level jump roughly going to Mirjasil. So honestly, eye level should reign supreme for the most part, even when it comes to like demonology stuff, and it's old bonus versus new. But like we were talking about, here is a Destro sim. Now, you can mostly ignore these. It's sort of whatever. There's like eye level issues here, but like I came across this. So 4-piece tier 30, Chaos Incarnate, Channel Demon Fire. This is what we're playing on retail now. 4-piece tier 31. This is going to be playing Dimensional Rift next year. Now, listen, the eye level on this gear for normal, or for tier 31 or whatever, is normal. So it's like 460 or whatever, but there's still a large eye level jump, right? And just to clarify, I'll show you. We'll open up 4-piece tier 30. 4-piece tier 30, CI, CDF. CI is Chaos Incarnate, CDF is, well, CDF. You can see here CDF in the damage breakdown. To show talents here, open this up. I am indeed playing Chaos Incarnate, which is right there. And look at the actual gearing. I am playing Grimhorns, no socket. I took the socket out. So I'm playing Savant, and Savant somewhere. I always miss the fourth one, but I mean 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, so I'm wearing 4-piece here. So this is tier 30, Aberrus tier. And it's within 1,000 DPS roughly, less than 1%, 1,100 basically, of a 4-piece tier 31 set from Mirjasil. Now, this is not a case of you need to nerf Destro's tier bonus in Aberrus next patch. This is the case of you need to buff the new one in tier 31, right? And to clarify here also, I'll show the 4-piece tier 31. It is indeed normal eye level tier. I didn't sim heroic or mythic or anything, because I mean at the same time, like I think there should be a decent jump wearing your new 4-piece compared to your old one, but there's really not. A 1k jump at this point in the final patch, the expansion is nowhere near where it should be. Just to clarify, 463, 4 It's called Ash Devil. 463, 460, 454, and down here, I always miss the fourth one. Ash Devil, yeah, yeah, there we go. 63, 60, 60, and 57 or whatever. What was it? Somewhere in here. I don't want to look again. Okay, right there. 454. But either way, there's still an eye level jump here. But there's an eye level jump on 4 items. And we had, like, the fact that there's a Chaos Incarnate Channel Demon Fire build within 1,000 DPS playing our old 4-piece to our new 4-piece, including a bit of an, I'd say probably, what's the eye level here? 453, comparatively to the other one being, what is it here? 4-piece tier 30. What is this one at? 453 from the other bonus, from the new one from Emirdrasil, comparatively to this being 450. A 3 eye level difference. That should be more than 1,000 DPS. Pound for pound, that tells me that Aberist here is still stronger. Not stronger overall, because once again, eye level does reign supreme, but it's barely making enough of a difference to make Emirdrasil tier better than Aberist tier for Destro. So Destro's tier, looking at what it is currently on retail, okay-ish. Looking at what it is on PTR, it needs some serious help. Destro tier needs, I mean, I don't know, like I said, I mean, they ended up overhauling Mark's tier, I guess, this PTR. Once again, I don't know if it was actual full overhaul or just like some numbers were changed. They called it an overhaul, but like Destro's tier needs some serious attention because it is not strong right now. And I don't want to play Chaos Incarnate, or I don't want to play, I don't want to play, I want to have my tier bonus working everywhere. And then plus, rifts feel a bit awkward. It's hard to reach that capstone. In single target, they feel okay to hit, but like when it comes to spread havoc AoE, probably it's not playing Rift anyway. It's not even playing a tier bonus in the raid. It's very awkward. It needs some serious help. So, Liz, if you're listening, please look at Destro tier. Lock in general could use some buffs. I think most of the range this tier honestly are a little rough compared to melee, but Lock in general could use some buffs. But Destro needs some serious tier help. It is a little rough. So thanks for watching, guys. Pretty short video, at least I hope it was. I just want to talk about tier. I was running Sims tonight, like I said, and honestly, I was just surprised at how, I guess subpar some of them are bonus-wise. Obviously, Demo tier and Aberist, very strong. I'm not going to hit 16% or whatever it was with normal tier bonuses, but 2.8% over like a 0-piece is pretty wild for a 4-piece. Destro needs some serious help. Like I said, honestly, man, I think most casters, like Warlock, I can't speak for all casters. Some are pretty good, but I feel like mostly it's a pretty big melee tier damage-wise. I mean, you've got a lot of like just melee-based classes that are doing better than range classes, and like I'm not saying that from a mechanic standpoint. I'm saying it from more of just like a raw tuning standpoint. I mean, Demon Hunter is solid, Rogue is solid, Enhance is solid, BM's basically melee in a sense, I guess. Even Survival's doing well. I'm probably forgetting some. Pharaoh's doing well. Ret's doing solid. DK is very good, decent, I think. Actually, I'm not sure. But it seems like it's a lot of melee meat grinder right now, which is okay. Tuning happens, but I mean, putting that aside, like I think Lock could probably use some help, whether it's like tier bonuses or just an overall buff to the spec. Demo and Clash Trinket propped up AF, last tier in Aberist with PI and things, but this tier we're not a great PI target. We don't have Clash Trinket anymore, and I talked about this, honestly, a few months ago when it came to like PTR beginning that, Lock looks pretty subpar without PI, without Clash Trinket, without insane tier bonuses, and lo and behold, well, here we are at a 2.8% DPS gain for a 4-piece. Yeah, we'll see where it goes. But if you guys like any week orders, add-ons, or sims in the video, links to Twitch and Discord down below. You can get them for free there. And these sims are in the description of the video. At the same time, before we end, like always, a massive shout out to my patrons. We're also supporting on Patreon, guys. Thank you a million times. I truly, really appreciate it. It allows me to keep doing what I'm doing for you guys and making content. And yeah, I just appreciate it. If you're looking at supporting on Patreon, it should be linked up here, as well as down below in the video description. I'm not saying that it's not going to change. I mean, for the 10th time, they just overhauled Mark's tier today, which is wild in the last day of raid testing after release candidate. So there's still hope, I suppose, but we're getting into the very last week or so of PTR. I fly out to BlizzCon in 4 days, which is mind-boggling to me. Things are going to get wild and crazy, but hopefully Lot comes out looking a little better than we are right now, because, well, she needs a little bit of help. So, I don't know. We'll see where it goes. With all that being said, thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch you all again soon on stream. Peace.